All right, we're going in 3, 2. Oh, we're recording
Yeah,
already.
you already.
I did that on purpose because I was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I'm
Hello,
in a funny mood
everyone.
today.
Yeah, no,
What?
I'm actually in a really, really good mood this week and
Okay,
all of 2021.
hold on. I know 2021. We're 2 weeks in. Literally 2 weeks in. It's January 14th. I want you to tell me all about your good mood after we introduce ourselves to the viewers right quick. What up, people? What up? It is episode 8 of yours truly's. Truly's, get it? I just
Yeah,
made that up on my own. Strong by Lee and Power by Pam. I guess that's sticking.
it's sticking. Yeah,
It's sticking. It's sticking for now. We're gonna stick
it
that
makes sense.
landing. Yeah, we're gonna stick it like glue. Strong by Lee, Power by Pam, episode 8, second episode of the new year. We're going to talk about goal setting today because I feel like that's probably the most obvious thing to talk about,
Yeah,
right? We're also going to talk about supplements. We're going to talk about the importance of a nuanced approach, why it's not so great to take such extreme stances and putting yourself in a box.
yeah.
You having to do a particular diet or you having to do a particular workout. I think those are very important things. I'm
Hmm.
leading you on right now, Pam, just to give you an idea of what we're going to talk about, what our agenda is. And maybe whatever other tangent we decide to talk about. But the bulk of this talk is going to be about how to set people up for the new year, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned you're in a really good mood. Do you want
I
to
am.
share why?
Sure. Well,
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
one of my goals is to be more positive. No, but really circling back to the whole idea of goal setting is should you set goals and specifically for the new year? And I say, yeah, why not? I myself, what I do, or what I just started to do this, I can't even say what I've been doing. This is recent, as in the past year. Um, I make a list of goals for myself twice a year. So I did it around my birthday, which is in June. And then I did it right before the new year. So that's about every 6 months. And I wrote down a whole list of goals. Some are smaller, some are bigger. And basically what I have been doing and what I did since my birthday is that you keep those goals in mind and you revisit those goals. You could do that on a monthly basis depending on how big or small those goals are. Um, and the reason why I think that setting goals is important, and again, I had never done this until the spring, is because it kind of hones you in on what you want out of life. And the reason why I started to create goals for myself was because I was in a situation where I wasn't happy with many aspects of my life. And I had to sit down and think about what parts of my life can I control and what parts of my life can I change. And if I want change, then I need to have some kind of goal to be able to make that change. So, how am I going to do it exactly? And that's kind of where this whole entire goal setting thing came into play for me. So, the benefits of goal setting is that you can kind of give yourself a track of where you're going with your future. It helps you to stay focused. You have something to focus on. And it's a form of measurement. And if I said, oh, David, in 2021, I'm going to lose weight, that's not very specific. So when you're making your goals, you want to be a little bit more specific. There has to be some sort of measurement. In 2021, I want to be able to deadlift 220 pounds for reps of 3. Or in 2021, I want to get down to 19% body fat. Or in 2021, I'm going to start my own business. These are more specific goals. And then something else that I do, right? So I have a whole entire list of goals. Those were just examples. I didn't write those things down. But if I were writing those things down, something else that I do on a daily basis is I make a list every day of what I want to accomplish that day. It's 3 things. So, I put my most important thing as number 1, then I have number 2, then I have number 3. as my day goes on and I accomplish those things, I check it off. I might even on a Friday night make a list of things that I want to accomplish over the weekend. And as the weekend goes on, I check it off. And while those aren't necessarily goals, those are very small forms of measurement that actually have helped me achieve my goals because it helps me stay motivated. And we've talked about motivation, that motivation doesn't happen unless there's an action and then you have some kind of result and then you're motivated to keep going. By having these small daily goals that I focus on, from writing a list of what I want to accomplish for that day, slowly but surely it does help me achieve the goals that I'm after. And actually, there was a study done, Harvard Business, those that graduated with their MBA from Harvard, through the 3% of those students that wrote down what goals they wanted ended up being 10 times more successful than the 97% of the people that didn't write their goals down. And I believe that it's like if you write your goals down, you keep looking at it, you keep revisiting it, you keep writing it down, that you're 40% more likely to achieve that goal than those that just kind of think it in their head. And once I started hearing that information, that's why I got in the habit of creating goals for myself. And actually, the first time I did it was back in April when I was like, I need to write down goals. But then for my birthday, I wrote a very clear set of goals. I revisited it at the end of December. Which of those things had I accomplished? Which of those things might no longer be important to me that I want to get rid of? And what can I add to that? Or what have I accomplished? I'm going to take that off because I already did it. Because the reality is that you're envisioning your future self. How are you going to get there? Write it down. You're making a plan for your future and you revise it as you go along because it's going to change. Your vision of yourself is going to change. So that's my thoughts about goal setting. I am pro goal setting. I would like to hear your thoughts on it though.
First question.
Yeah.
Who or what is Harvard? Is that something we should be listening to? I'm just kidding. Come on, Pam.
Harvard's the college. Oh my God, it's the college.
Well, Harvard is only one of the best universities in the world.
Yeah, who? I was like, are you an owl? What's going on? Who are you, an owl? Yeah.
It's time for owls to come out. Goal setting is really interesting. I was actually having a conversation. I write a lot about goal setting. But you, yes, I write a lot about goal setting. For people who aren't aware, I do have a newsletter. I have a newsletter that comes out 3 to 4 times a week. And I break down the newsletter in terms of fitness or in terms of nutrition. I guess my framework, I have a phrase, it's called fitness equals food, function, and framework. Food meaning nutrition, function meaning physical exercise, and framework being the mindset, like how you're framing your life. Goal setting is one of those things I talk about a lot, but I try to approach goal setting in a more contrarian way. Kind of like you. We talked about during our sessions, we never try to set grand goals. And perhaps looking back on it, I feel like maybe we should have done more of that. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of aspects of goal setting, depending on who I work with, I tend to focus on. There are 3 things when it comes to goal setting I look at before I even determine goals for people. The first one I have to determine is, how does this person tick? What motivates this person? In a society where people are trying to make everything as convenient and automatic as possible, I imagine there are a lot of people who would not want to go through the trouble of doing what you mentioned, which is previewing the day.
Yeah.
Setting out what your day is going to look like and keeping track of those 3 things. That's a fantastic habit. I think it's one of the best ways to establish a goal, a behavior change. Research shows it could take anywhere between 20 to 250 days to establish a habit based on who
Yeah.
you are, based on how committed you are, based on what's going on around your life. For example, let's say you want to get into a fitness routine, yet you're a really busy parent and you have a full-time job. It's probably going to take you a lot longer than someone like you, for instance. You don't have those responsibilities. You have other responsibilities, just not those specific responsibilities. So the way you internalize goals and manifest them are going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge for you and me and other health coaches who go about goal setting for people is getting the goals to match up with somebody's lifestyle and trying to help them, empower them, and encourage them to fight back against the trap of convenience and automation. People probably don't want to think about what to eat or what to do. They just want it to
Mm-hmm.
happen. There is a really common scenario within the fitness industry. If I can wave a magic wand and make one of your wishes come true, what would it be? People say, I want to lose 30 pounds of fat. I want to do blah, 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 which goes to show you that a lot of people are drawn towards, I want it to happen quick. I want it to happen painlessly. And I want it to happen right now. Quick, painlessly, right now. Quick and right now. Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing. Painlessly, without much effort, and right now. That's an uphill battle for you and me. But it also illuminates how important goal setting is,
Yeah.
because fitness and health are really that important. I don't know when it happened, when people started to relegate health and fitness to the wayside, to automate it. Maybe I don't know, maybe it was just all the marketing and advertising. Like you can lose however much weight you want without eating, while fasting, or you don't have to go to the gym and lose however much you want. And there have been many people, experts, non-experts, companies who preyed on people's susceptibility for hacks and shortcuts.
Yeah.
But you know better than anyone else that if you want to
Yeah.
see the results that you desire, you have to put in the work. It's like you said, it's a business. You
Yeah.
wouldn't treat business the same way. You wouldn't wing a business the same way that you would wing health. It's not such an apples to apples comparison, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
Right? Your health is important, your wealth is important, and you should be deliberate about your process. The first thing is, how can we get somebody's lifestyle to match up with what they want to achieve? Is it even practical? Is it realistic? Which, and this is something that you were alluding to, brings me to a formula. I usually go by two things. The first one is SMART. You've probably heard of SMART, SMART. Yes, it's SMART. You mentioned the S, which is specific. You don't want to have a really vague goal. Depending on who you talk to, depending on your personality, and depending on what you want to achieve, there is this thing called the hairy, audacious goals. And this is a term that's floated in business sphere. Have a really big goal. You want to have reach goals and you want to have stretch goals, right? Reach goal means it's a goal that's going to push you outside of your comfort zone a little bit. You have to reach for it. And then stretch goal is you can't actually reach it just yet. You have to stretch. It's beyond your reach, but over time, as you achieve more of your reach goals, you will hit that stretch goal.
Yeah.
You don't want to have too much of those stretch goals. You want to have more of those reach goals. And the way that you hit those reach goals is to make them as specific as possible. That framework, SMART, S stands for specific, M stands for measurable. You want to be able to, we were talking about this off the record. If you want to lose fat, you want to use tools that will help you measure how much fat you're losing, whether it's a body fat caliper or an in-body machine that uses a specific method to measure body fat. Whatever the case is, you want to use a tool to measure your progress. A means attainable. This is the hard one. A lot of people come to you and me with unrealistic expectations. A lot of people don't take stock of, well, what the heck is going on in my life right now? And is my goal even attainable?
Mm.
Figure out if the goal is attainable or not. This might be harder for somebody who's brand new. For somebody who has tried to lose weight in the past and they've struggled, they might have a better idea of what is attainable. It's for them to figure out. Next R is relevant. Is it relevant? Relevant meaning if you achieve these goals, will your life significantly change? Prime example, and this is a pushback. I've worked with many clients who came to me because they wanted to lose weight or look better for their wedding. This is pretty common, for their
I
wedding.
remember you said this to me before.
Yes. And most of them not only achieve their goals, but they achieve way beyond what they expected. But guess what? Wedding day comes, they get some compliments, but then the day after, they completely forget about it.
Yeah.
They're not really any happier before their wedding than when they are with their wedding, with their bodies changed. Why? Because even though the wedding day is important, that is really the focus. The focus isn't necessarily, oh, how do I look during my wedding day? The focus is, well, this is a wedding. It's not like my fiance isn't going to marry me if I don't lose the weight. A lot of people put their end result on a pedestal.
Yeah.
When it's usually not going to provide the happiness they desire. So you have not only the unrealistic expectations, but you have the heightened expectations. People are not really good at aligning how they would actually feel with how they want to feel or how they think they should feel. So that's the R, relevant. Is it going to measurably change your life? And then T is time bound. Deadlines are important. You're a teacher. You give deadlines to your students. I want homework done by this day, or I need to get the lesson plan done by this day. We're humans, and if we're not given deadlines, we're going to procrastinate. And even if we are given deadlines, we're going to procrastinate. Think about it.
Yeah.
I procrastinated for this freaking talk. I waited until the very last second to ask you, hey, Pam, what should we talk about today?
Yeah.
We're natural procrastinators. But the best way to combat procrastination is to give ourselves a deadline. But that's just one factor among many. If you are just given a deadline, but that deadline doesn't really mean anything to you, you're probably going to procrastinate and most likely not do it.
Yeah.
So that's the SMART framework. The next framework I want to talk about goes a little bit beyond the SMART framework, because the SMART framework, you're looking at one particular goal and you're breaking down that goal into more specific chunks, giving it life, like you said, giving it a vision. The next one is called the OKR, objectives and key results. Objective is that goal that you broke down the SMART way, but then the key results, you're going to list out maybe 3 to 5 key results. And those are the specific behaviors you have to engage in on a consistent basis in order to achieve that objective. So if your objective is to lose 30 pounds in 6 months, what do you need to do in order to lose that 30 pounds in 6 months? You need to go to the gym a specific amount of times. You need to clean up your diet. You need to maybe drink less alcohol. You need to eat out less, maybe drink some more water. So these are the specific action steps that you want to take. So those are the two frameworks, SMART and OKR. And I believe those two frameworks will help people set proper goals.
I like that you brought the SMART goals up. I can't believe I actually forgot about SMART goals. But
you didn't forget about it. You didn't forget about it because I saw the gears clicking. You didn't forget about it.
Yeah. You know, if I said to you, David, I want to lose 30 pounds by the summer, I think that we know that I'm kidding myself, because that's just not going to happen. And I don't want it to happen. But, you know, that's not really a smart goal to have. But if I said to you, David, when I go back to the gym in March, by June, I want my deadlift to be 10 pounds heavier than it was on March 1st. Mm-hmm. That is way more realistic. And that's a very specific form of measurement. Now, how am I getting there? In my daily goals, when I write 3 things that I want to do that day, one of them might be workout, deadlift. And when you're doing that over the course of days, weeks, months, that's how you start to see a change. And so I think that maybe I should have been a little bit more specific about that when I was talking about goals, because I was talking about it like holistically, as it could have been a fitness and nutrition goal, or it could have been a life goal. But when it comes to fitness and nutrition, I think you're absolutely right. The SMART goal is 100% the way to go, and even going back to when you and I first started to train, I remember you said to me, what's your goal? And I was like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Like I had no, and you were just kind of like, okay, yeah, that'll be easy. Cause it happened. But it's when I look back at that, I kind of laugh. I'm like, wow, I would have never said that if it was now. My goals would have been very specific. I would have had multiple goals. And I don't even think that it would have been necessarily a weight goal, because like you said, when you reach that goal, then what? Is it just going to go out the door the next day? It's like you have to have a plan in place. And I think the SMART goal way is a very good, specific way to create goals, to stick to them, and to have a plan in place for when you do achieve that goal. How are you going to follow up with that next to see that you're successful long term with it?
See, and let's consider that. You came to me already with experience.
Mm-hmm.
You had training experience. You had dieting experience. And even you came to me with a vague goal. Looking
Yeah.
back on it, you would have changed your approach. Now, let's consider the average person who doesn't have training experience, how lost and unrealistic
Yeah.
their expectations would be, right? And this is just a message to people. I know what I'm going to say is a plug for coaches, but it doesn't just stop at making a SMART goal. You need, in order for you to be as effective and efficient as possible, and this is about the relevancy and urgency. If your goal is important to you and you want to achieve them, and for some reason it's urgent, you need to get feedback on your goals, because most people do not know what is a good goal. Most people do not break those goals down in a SMART way. And when I say SMART, I'm not saying it in a virtue signaling fashion. I'm just saying in the acronym way. Most people do not know how to break the goals down that way.
Yeah.
Right? It's really important for people to get feedback. Even if it's just on a phone call with you or me, we can help you break it down. It's really, really important.
And I don't want to cut you off. Another reason why I think that it is really important is because, if I said to you, David, I really want to lose 30 pounds by the summer, and I was saying this to you right now, we both know that would not happen. That is just not physically possible for that to happen for me. So sometimes people make these unrealistic goals for themselves, and they're setting themselves up for failure. And you feel like a failure. That's why I kind of have an issue with people saying, I want to be this body weight, because the reality is that, if your goal is to be 125 pounds, and you're sitting there and you're 160, 170 pounds, I'm not saying that you're not going to get there, but what happens if you end up being 128 pounds instead of 125 pounds? Are you going to beat yourself up until you get to 125? And then when you slide into maintenance and your body weight naturally goes up 3 to 5 pounds, are you going to say that you failed? Or maybe your body just does not sit at that weight. I know for myself, I could never be 125 pounds because my body just doesn't sit at that weight at all. I weighed that much when I was 13 years old. And if I set that goal for myself and I couldn't get to that goal, especially by a specific date, I need to be this goal by July 1st, and I couldn't get there, then I would have that all or nothing mindset where, like, you know what, screw it. It's not working. This diet's not working. What I'm doing is not working. Screw it. I'm going back to my old ways. And that's how you actually gain the weight back. And you end up worse off than before. So I think it's absolutely relevant that not only when you're creating goals that they're smart, but that you are sharing them with someone that could look at them and be a little bit realistic with you about what is obtainable, what's not obtainable.
Speaking on to build off of that, when I was a personal trainer at New York Sports Club, one of the initiatives I tried to lift off the ground, which didn't really catch much traction, was a weekly R&D, like research and development or whatever, but mainly it was for non-accredited continuing education for personal trainers, where we held something every Friday, and I would do a piece on relationship marketing. Relationship marketing being, how do we get our clients to really buy into our relationship, not just the training part, but our relationship, the coaching relationship. Because if somebody really wanted to change and lose weight, they can go to a boot camp, they can go to a cycling class, they can do a program online, they can do it. But people who need help, who need a little bit more handholding, that's not going to work for them. They
Yeah.
need encouragement and empowerment, and most importantly, they need education. One of the things that I really tried to focus on with trainers when I was talking to them about relationship marketing is to not stop the questioning at the superficial level. How many times have you heard of trainers asking their clients or prospects about, what's your goal? Oh, I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay. When do you want to lose that weight by? Oh, I want to lose it by in 6 months. Oh, for my wedding. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to help you do this. We're going to do it this way. And we're definitely going to lose 30 pounds. While on the surface, that sounds like that's how it should go. That's actually not how it should go.
Mhm.
You want to lose 30 pounds. All right. Where did you get that number 30 from?
Mhm.
Where did you get it from? It's like, and most people, when I ask prospective clients, and this wasn't you, people who just came to me because I was a personal trainer and they didn't really know much about personal training, they're like, what do you mean? It's like, why do you want to lose 30 pounds? What's so special about 30 pounds? It's like, uh, I don't know. I don't know how many times. I can't count how many times I've gotten, I don't know. Uh, and I asked them, is it from social media, an advertisement? Were you the lightest, or did you look the best or feel the best when you were 30 pounds lighter? How did you come up with that
Yeah.
number? So you have to, and this is for people who want to set goals. If you do create specific goals, you also have, and this is part number two. Earlier, I said number one is like learning how to set the lifestyle with the goals. Number two is, why do you want to achieve this goal? Why is this goal relevant to you? Where did you get this specific number from? Where did you get the specific timeline from? And a lot of times people only scratch the surface. They don't go underneath. They don't go a little bit deep. Remember how we talked about in one of our early episodes how a venture capitalist believed the three most important things as humans are health, wealth, and happiness?
Yeah.
If health is one of the most important things for you to achieve or you to maintain as a human being, it makes sense for you to really question what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you want to dig a little bit deeper. You want to figure out, well, why do I want to achieve this goal? Why is it important for me? Why do I want? And here's the thing: health is one of those things, and you're doing it. You're consistent. I don't meet many people as consistent as you, which is an inspiration, even to me. You have a deep why. You have a deep reason. Even when your life wasn't going the way you wanted to, you still had a base to go back to. That's where you
Yeah.
felt comfort. That's where you felt safe, because at least that's where you had control.
Mhm.
But if people don't have that base because they haven't identified a specific why or a purpose, then it's going to be really difficult for them to
Yeah.
be consistent. Thoughts on that?
I hear your kids crying in the back.
Yeah, yeah. my daughter is crying in the back. I don't know what
I
happened.
just want to address the elephant in the room. No, I
Are you calling my daughter an elephant?
I agree with everything that you said. You're absolutely right with everything that you said. I think having a why is extremely important. Why are you setting these goals for yourself? What is your why? I have a very deep why, and it's not just a simple sentence. It's a story. I have a story. I have a why that, no matter what roadblock happens, no matter how many steps back I've taken, because there's been plenty of times we know that I've taken steps back and I've kind of had to replan and reset goals. in order to move forward. But having a very good understanding of what your why is. When I came to you, I didn't really have a why, and that's why I was like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. And then 20 pounds came off, and it's like, now what? And so your why changes, which is fine, and your goals change, which is totally fine as well. But establishing that why is extremely important, and establishing those smart, realistic goals is very important as well. And then, what are you doing on a daily basis to help you obtain those goals? And again, I revisit my goals twice a year for the number of ones that I set. However, that's not necessarily what you need to do, because if you're setting a SMART goal and that SMART goal is 3 months, then you're revisiting that goal in 3 months.
We also want to address another elephant in the room, and it's not my daughter. You quoted a Harvard business study.
I did.
What people need to realize is the average person will never, ever get into Harvard. These people who go to Harvard are either wired in a very special way, or their environment, their whole life has been structured in a way to set them up for success to get into Harvard. What I'm trying to say is most people who set goals should expect to work much, much harder and be much, much more aware and mindful of their goals than somebody who goes to Harvard. Because somebody who goes to Harvard might already have a mindset of achievement and success. These people are probably driven. You're probably not going to be able to discourage them from doing whatever. But the average person, this includes me, this includes you, will get discouraged easily. We will get sucked into a rabbit hole, a black hole of social media and comparative analysis with other people. Case in point, if somebody comes to me and says that they want to lose 30 pounds, a lot of times it's not because they want to lose 30 pounds. It's because of what society tells them they will be like if they lose 30 pounds.
Yeah.
People have to be really mindful, need to be very diligent, vigilant about who they are as a person and whether or not the goals they set out for themselves is coming from them. It's coming from their soul.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I brought up the Harvard study is that
I didn't mean to push back. I didn't mean to push back.
Oh no. But I just want to clarify if anyone's confused. The reason why I brought it up was because they were, even though people that graduate from Harvard are ridiculously smart and very focused, that they were saying that only 3% of those people that graduated with their MBA had written down their goals, and those people that wrote down their goals ended up being more successful than the ones that also graduated that did not write down their goals.
And so, people who didn't write down their goals are still going to be more successful than most people.
But if they didn't, that study at a different university, I graduated from SUNY Albany. So if they had 3% of people that graduated during my year write down the goals versus those that didn't, then the outcome probably would be what they're basically saying is write down your goals. Write it down, David.
Write down your goals. Write down your goals. Go through the SMART framework. Try to get feedback from somebody who knows how to break down your goals and question your preconceived notions about what goals actually are. And really, and will take the time and the effort to dig into those goals. And not just accept them at face value, because that's not doing you or anyone else any good. The other things I want to talk about when it comes to goal setting, we talked about this before. Rather than, and I think there are 3 parts, right? Rather than focusing on what you want to achieve, maybe you can also focus on when I say also, I mean concurrently, not to forget about what that mountain off in the distance looks like. But all too often, people will ignore the road right in front of them because they're so hyper-focused on that mountain. There's a really popular Chinese proverb. I don't know who it's attributed to. It's like a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Yeah.
And I know that quote could probably be interpreted in many different ways. One of the ways I interpret it is make sure you know which steps you're taking. Make sure you know what's directly in front of you. In addition to looking off in the distance, if somebody isn't the type of person to look directly in front of them, try to put more focus on the process. Like you said, those behaviors, what behavior and what your little trick is, I think, so helpful for many people who get paralyzed by some goal off in the distance that they may or may not be confident about achieving. If you can list out specific behaviors you should be doing every single day, it takes some of the focus off of, well, I want to be 30 pounds lighter than I am today. But in order to do that, I know that I need to drink a certain amount of water. I need to go to the gym a certain amount of times, and I need to yada, yada, yada. Those behaviors encompass the process. Look at the behaviors a little bit more if you don't already. The second one is, how often do we tell ourselves not to do something? Don't do this, don't do that. We're so negative. There's a lot of negativity around goal setting or around what we want to achieve. Not negative in terms of, well, I suck. I'm talking about negative in terms of avoiding stuff. Rather than trying to avoid things, try to be a little bit more positive in terms of approaching or adding. One of the things I really try to do with my clients, and you do this too, you do this with yourself, is rather than focusing out what I can take out, why don't I focus on what I can put in? Yes. So rather than saying, well, I need to take out more fat. I need to eat less fat. Well, rather than that, why don't we say, well, I should eat a little bit more protein. I should eat more healthier fats. I should eat healthy carbohydrates. I should, or not should. I don't like using that normative language. You know what I mean, though. The gist is instead of subtracting,
you're adding. Yes.
Right? How do we create societal rebels? We keep telling them to stop doing stuff. Don't think of an orange. Don't think of an elephant.
Yeah, and then it's like you're going to think of an orange. Same thing if I say you can't eat ice cream and pizza. What are you going to automatically think of? Eating ice cream and pizza.
Yes. Yes. And then the third one is, and this is an approach I use with you a lot, and you eventually started to come around it, and it always brought tears to my eyes, is rather than, oh my gosh, you bring tears to my eyes all the time.
I was the one that always cried when we were together.
Trust me, they're tears of joy.
Mine were tears of joy. Maybe yours.
You know what? Whenever it says, oh my God, training is torture. It's like, it's not torture, baby. It's transformation.
I'm like, oh, how many times did I start crying when I was working out?
Oh my gosh. We have stories to tell. There was a saying, before we become the master, we must first be the fool. There's another saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Those sayings basically mean, you can interpret it as, rather than trying to become a master or an expert right away, why don't you take your time in the process and be a fool? Because it's a learning process. And instead of trying to be a perfectionist, be like, well, I need to lose 30 pounds or I need to do a 225-pound deadlift, instead of focusing on the mastery of a particular skill, take joy and pride in the actual learning process, you progressing and performing a little better each and every day. For example, for you, whenever you improved on a swing in terms of weights or in terms of how easy it looked in terms of technique or how many repetitions you did, we were always looking at what small improvement did we make. Those small incremental improvements will add up to big improvements. Because I remember, this is a story that's it's related but not so related. When I first when I got shipped off to go to basic training for the U.S. Air Force, I knew basic training was going to be 8 weeks. It's going to be 8 weeks of hell, whatever. You can't talk to your parents, and you're waking up at 5 a.m. You have to work out 3 times a day. You have a limited time to eat. You're marching all the time, and you have drill sergeants yelling at you, screaming in your face. Good luck COVID wasn't around back then, because I had all sorts of spit in my eyeballs.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this thing is never going to end. This thing is going to last forever. And then before I knew it, last day of basic training, we are marching on the field and we're about to graduate. Basically, what I'm saying is, regardless of if you focus on the end result or your progress and your performance, time's going to keep going.
Yeah.
Might as well focus on the incremental improvements that you're making to give yourself a little bit more grace and not be so difficult and harsh on yourself.
Yeah.
Because before you know it, if you stick to those behaviors, you are going to lose those 30 pounds. It'll happen like that.
You're right. When did I bring tears to your eyes, though? That's what I want to know. When did I bring tears to your eyes?
At one time when we stepped on the scale and
Oh, I
you
know.
you pretty much lost your goal amount of weight, and I remember you were there, and there were 3 other of my clients there, and
Yeah.
we all hugged you and we congratulated you, like, yes, that's amazing. That was amazing. It was a glorious moment.
Yeah.
And that was what, 2 years ago? That was 2 years ago, and you're getting better. You are better now than you were back then.
Yeah. But I want people to know something, that I did take steps back after that.
Yes.
That I did take steps back, that there were external things that happened in my life that were out of my control, that I took steps back, but I never stopped. So maybe, yes, I did put on some of that weight again, and I lost it, but I never stopped. And kind of what you're saying about, oh wow, I used to not be able to do this, now I can do this. When you're looking at how far you're coming, instead of looking at how much weight you've lost, what are the things that you've done over that time that have helped you improve your lifestyle? I think that that's a big one too. And you're saying, like, I'm better now than I was 2 years ago.
In so many different ways.
Yeah, and it's because I stopped focusing on that stupid number, because it's just like, it's a number. It's a number, and I'm stronger, I'm leaner, I'm fitter, I take care of myself better. It's endless.
Another reason, I don't know how you felt about it. Maybe you were telling yourself that this was kind of like, oh, I'm either letting David down or I need to make David proud or whatever. Maybe some people believe that the coaching relationship is unrequited. It's one way. It's absolutely not. When I talk about you bringing joy to me in this coaching relationship, whenever I see you improve and progress, it does bring me joy too.
Yeah.
It's not about you listening to what I say. It's also about me listening to you and me taking stock of your progress and being absolutely proud of what you've done. And that's, I think, what a lot of people need nowadays. So they create the goals, they get the feedback, but they also get the encouragement from a coach. Not the superlative, the normative criticisms, like, oh, well, you should do this, you have to do this, you need to do this. Be like, oh man, well, we understand life happens. You take steps back. What can we do to help you regain your footing? If you take 1 step back today, how can we help you gain 2 steps forward tomorrow or next week or next month or next year? It's a two-way relationship. I think the client fulfills the coach just as much as the coach should fulfill the clients.
You're right about that. And also think that a reason why you'll have clients and people in general making these crazy goals is, and people giving up on those goals, is because we live in a very instant gratification world. So if
Mhm.
you set the goal for yourself that you want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, you don't want it to happen in 3 months. You want it to happen in a day. Let's be honest. I
Mhm.
mean, a 20
Sure.
pounds in 3 months is a substantial amount of weight to lose in a short period of time to begin with. But it is so true. And when I came to you, that's how I was. It was like, how fast can I lose 20 pounds? Is it 2 months? Is it 3 months? Is it 4 months? Is it 6 months? And it took me about a year. Um, but in that process, I learned to enjoy the process. That it's not just about the end goal. It's about, feeling better, looking better, my clothes fitting better, adding in better habits, getting stronger. I mean, being strong and eating foods that are nutritious to me comes above the number on the scale and the size clothes that I wear, point blank, and my mentality. Because it's like, if I'm strong, the fittest that I've been, that doesn't mean that I'm 90% body fat and 140 pounds. That means that I feel good. That means that I could lift the way that I want. That means I could train the way that I want, and I'm fueling my body with what it needs. And I think that a lot of people want to look a certain way without taking those things into account. And I also enjoy the process. I know that I still have ways to go. I have a vision in my mind of where I would like to be, but I don't know when it will happen, but I know it will happen. But I focus on the most important things, and I focus on the process, and I look back. Where was I last January? What weight was I lifting last January? What is it like now? How am I better nutrition wise now? I don't look at, oh my God, how much did I weigh last January? And then I weigh this now. And let me look at these two pictures and compare myself. It's like, oh, I have a healthier habit now. And wow, I can run longer on the treadmill. I could deadlift more weight. I could bench press more weight. Those are the things that are important to me. That's the process that I feel like people need to pay attention to.
And like you said, we live in a society that rewards instant gratification. Look all around. Instant gratification, convenience, automatic, mechanical, happen right now, automatic. And we're even us, even health experts, we still fall victim to those types of things,
Yeah.
those temptations. Anyone who's listening to this who isn't a health expert or doesn't do fitness as much as we do, you should give yourself a little bit more grace and stop being so harsh and critical. I always tell people, if you're going to go for the fitness thing, go for it. Put the effort in. If you're going to be half-assed about it, then go to the lowest common denominator and don't even try. It's a harsh way to say it, but if somebody is going to go about something half-assed, they're going to do more damage than good because they're
Mhm.
not going to put the effort in, but they're still going to put in the same amount of time. If you're going to go to the gym for an hour, hour and a half, and you're not really going to try to make that time as productive as possible, well, you just wasted an hour, hour and a half at the gym and all the commute that was involved in that trip. So if somebody isn't going to put the effort in, live out your life the way you want. Put focus into other things that really matter. If you have a family and you want to get fit, yet you have a family and they demand your attention, maybe right now is not the right time for
Yeah.
you to undertake a fitness routine, no matter how much you want it. Focus on the other priorities in your life, and then when you're ready, revisit the fitness thing again. It's really about, and that goes back to, is it real? Is it attainable? Is it attainable given your situation and given your environment? We talked about how to set goals using the SMART formula, OKR, looking at outcome versus process, avoid versus approach, mastery versus performance, all these little things that can really help with mindset. What do you think are some practical ways people can, what do you think are some practical things people can do to help them achieve their goals? I'll start. Number one, we mentioned it
Go
before.
ahead. You're like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I got this, so don't worry.
No. I'm gonna start since I'm already on a roll. My tongue is rolling. And I'm only gonna list them, and then you will go into your little thing.
Oh, okay.
So how do we stick to them? We mentioned it before. You actually mentioned it before. You brought it up, Jordan Syatt, the calendar method, where you're trying to stick to a particular habit for 30 days. You have a calendar or journal, something visual where you mark off each day, whether with an X or a circle or a check mark, and you try to keep that chain going. I got it from Jerry Seinfeld when he was in his rookie years of being a comedian. He wanted to practice his comedy routines, and he wanted to make sure that he didn't break that chain. So he had a calendar, did his best to not break the chain. Journal. The preview thing you were talking about, I think, is really important. How often do people self-reflect on what they're doing? A good way is to take stock of how your day went. Ask yourself, how did my day go today? What went well? What didn't go well? And what can I do to improve? Then in the morning when you wake up, you give yourself a list of 3 things that you're going to try to achieve. And then most importantly, what obstacles do you anticipate? If you have a coworker at your job who's going to try to sabotage you, put that down. My coworker might try to sabotage me, and then try to put into your brain some possible workarounds. Those are usually the 2 things, boom, that I shoot for. What about you, Pam?
You kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Actually,
Darn it!
what we're saying about anticipating is something that I was speaking to about a client with over the weekend. And I had said to her, I'm writing everything down and I'm sending it to you. I said, and the reason why is because when you have a document to look on, because what I was doing was, we were talking about commitments for the week. Like let's think of 1 or 2 very, very small things that we can do this week that you can add into your routine that will help you get better, and what commitments are you going to make sure that happens. And so I wrote all that down, and I said to her, the reason why I'm doing this is so you can anticipate and you can constantly look at this list throughout the week of what you have to do. You now have a focus, but you can also anticipate, knowing that maybe Wednesday is your longest day, but this is what I committed to this week, and these are my goals for this week, and this is how I said I was going to achieve those goals. So I have a focus in mind. I'm very clear on what I have to do. So I think anticipation and planning is extremely important in your goals, and that kind of goes back to the calendar thing. I do the calendar thing because I'm a planner, and I like to plan out, how my week is going to go, or how my month is going to go, and whether I'm going to put a check mark or an X because I know I'm going to stay on track, or I'm going to be a little bit more lenient. I think everything you said goes hand in hand. The journaling too. I journal every night. And again, the next day, it's my 3 small things. I know how yesterday went. How do I want today to go? What are the small things that I need to accomplish today? Do those tie in to my SMART goals long term? Yes? Okay, let's do that then.
Sorry, I took the word right out of your mouth.
53 minutes later, and this was supposed to be a 15-minute discussion, and so we have used up all of our time.
At least there's a 5 involved in both 15 and 53.
but it's good, and I think that, especially like you said, going into the new year, everyone kind of has these goals that they want to achieve, and a lot of them might not be SMART, and a lot of them might not be specific, and so this kind of addressed that, and how to help people that are looking to be successful long term, and just know that it's not going to happen overnight. These are things that we need to enjoy the process with.
And I thought we were engaging enough.
Sure.
We did our little dance, little back and forth dance.
Sure.
Even though I don't know how to dance, despite me being Asian. Asians don't really know how to dance. We're not really known for dance.
No, I don't know where you got that from.
No, I don't know either. BTS maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
This was good though. This was good. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too, Pam. Look, you bring tears of joy to my eyes, Pam.
Yeah, and you have brought many tears to my eyes too.
Well, anyways, I hope this was helpful for anyone who's listening. It certainly was helpful for me, and I'm speaking for Pam here since I am on a roll of taking words out of her mouth. Where's my fishing pole? Give me those words, Pam. Open up your mouth. Give me those words.
Also, for people that don't know David, the reason why I don't really react to his jokes is because he tells them all the time, and I sit there like no expression because but you have to think about it. I'm a teacher and I work with kids, and kids say the most ridiculous things and I can't really react to it. So I'm not calling you a kid, but what I'm saying is that corny jokes, my reaction is just kind of like, oh, but that's how I am in general about things. I don't react. But David tells a lot of jokes.
I should also mention some of those tears were tears of insult because you don't even laugh at me. You just are straight deadpan. There's either people laugh with you or people laugh at you. You're that blonde chick in the back just staring at me as I'm up there in the front trying to tell a joke. Like,
And I'm like, I'm here to work out. That's how you knew that I was serious, is that I was like, I'm here to work out, not listen to your jokes here.
So the essence is, if you do work out with Pam, understand you're going to be working out with somebody who is serious about your results.
Yeah.
Serious about your results. Don't even think about spilling a corny joke. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, people don't like working out with me.
They do like working out with you because you're freaking strong and you're motivating. They look at you have insane work ethic, for better or for worse, right? People, I don't know. Sometimes my.
All right, we gotta cut this. We gotta cut this because we're blind.
Okay. All right, we're gonna cut it. We're at 57 minutes. Yeah, we're getting into the personal stuff. But anyways, we're gonna sign off. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much, Pam. Until next time. You need to have a tagline. You need to have a sign-off message.
Be powerful.
Power to you or something. I don't know.
Be powerful.
Right. Yeah. Until next time, be strong.